There we go. Now we're live. Yay, we're live. All right, so it's Friday, November 13th. It's my aunt's birthday. I'm not going to tell you how old she is or she'll get mad at me if she sees it. But it's my aunt's birthday. Shout out to my Aunt Pam, my mother's sister. She's awesome. She's a chemist, part of the reason why I'm good at science. Um, and here we are, yeah, back in fun. So I just upgraded to Rider EAP like EAP 7 10 minutes before the stream started. So if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, that's probably the reason why. Primarily because, Rodney's over here trying to be super special and super cute. At times he shouldn't. So I actually had no conceivable plan for today. It's been a really interesting couple of weeks for me. So I'm a little tired, but there's a blog post that I've been meaning to like talk about that I want to give some credence to, that I feel like nobody's really paying any attention to, and it's a really interesting article. I'm gonna post it in the chat, and I know that if I post it in the chat now and somebody comes in later. Good morning, Lachlan Gordon. Good morning. Welcome to the fun. I hope that this is not so okay. It looks like a spam link, but it's not. I promise. This is a blog post about using reactive programming to create cancellation tokens when the network request has changed. So I've got this nice app that does stuff. I didn't really want to get too much into functionality today, so I decided that I'm just going to go ahead and finally talk about this blog post, talk about like what the pattern itself is, and then maybe show, maybe show, right? This is live coding, so of course we're going to show how to do the thing with the stuff, and maybe it'll work. Who knows? We'll find out, because I don't know if you guys know at this point on my live stream, like I'm not batting 1,000, right? Like I've had a couple of them where it's just like at the end of the stream, it's like this doesn't work the way I want it to. Speaking which, collection view, which I did a couple of weeks ago, and I tried to get refresh view to work on collection view, and yikes, that didn't work. So come to find out, I hit a bug today at work using collection view, and I'm just like, here we go again with collection view. Oh, it's more performant, yeah, but it doesn't work half the time. Oh man, I wish I could queue up crickets. I gotta get better at this streaming thing, man. If I had like a button where I could get the crickets chirping in the background, that'd be great. I'm gonna have to talk to people that do this, like Kim Phil Potts and Brian Lagunas, guys that actually like live stream and do the thing. I'm just kind of live coding, trying to spread some knowledge. So yeah, so like collection view crapped on me, and then I go look at Xamarin Forums, and one of my colleagues sends me a thing and says, "Oh, there's 30 open issues on collection view, and collection view plus the word crash in Xamarin Forms on GitHub. There's 30 open issues right now," and I'm just like, "How is that possible? How is that okay?" And then they're going through this whole .NET 5, .NET 6 thing. So they got Xamarin 5 coming down the pipeline, which is probably the next iteration. I don't know when it's due to hit, but it's probably going to hit sometime in the relative near future. And it's just gonna break. Like I don't know if we can, like, we're just gonna let it sit there and let it be broken. I'm just like, man, how did y'all? And yet this is supposed to be the evolution. Oh, it's better. I'm just like, okay, it handles the UI concerns and it's quote unquote more performant, but it's also not ready. It's just not ready. Yeah, so I upgraded Rider. Rider is being ridiculously smart to me right now. So I'm actually going to click the play button, because I just clicked the play button like 10 minutes before now. It's probably because I have .NET 5 installed, and .NET 5 is, I still don't think, fully supported in Rider. All of my friends that see this that work at Rider, please don't yell at me when I'm, because I'm probably very much wrong about that. Hey, bring in Xamarin Forms, import type. Why is the type Xamarin Forms not included? What? Y'all see this? Okay. System dot drawing dot color. Is that like, none of that seems. Oh no. Yeah, we're gonna go and uninstall .NET 5 like right now, because .NET 5 is clearly causing problems. I just tested this. This was working, believe it or not, 5 minutes before I started this stream. So like, let's go click buttons and see what we can do. And of course, it's only in that one card view where it's broken. Everywhere else, it's fine. Everything's normal. I think Rider lets me set the. Okay, and that time it goes. YOLO. All right, so the app is at least running. We see it running. It's not the end of the world. We're not freaking out. Okay, good. The app's running. So let's go ahead and do more stuff. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of look at that implement. We're gonna talk about what's going on in here, and then we're gonna kind of I'm gonna cheat because I actually have some of this code already built. If you're not aware, Ryan Davis has a package where he does the Xamarin Forms abstractions. I built a similar thing, not as his implementation is better because of the way he's doing the Git submoduling. He's making it way more hands off. Mine is not as hands off as his, and I probably need to go back and update some stuff. But I think we want to bring it in the forms package. I think because they're just abstractions, we can do it here and in forms. I don't know if we need it. But I've got a list of abstractions that give me access to... Let's collapse things. I got a list of things that give me access to... I've got some interfaces that give me access to the underlying stuff. So one of the things that he's doing in this thing, right? And I'm going to just copy and paste the code from where he's got it. I think I actually want to do this on the UI just to be safe. Because I don't know even know if I have Xamarin Forms installed, because I don't want to install Xamarin Forms where I have my view models because, you know, reasons. So let's go back to that page that we were on. Let's just hit the code behind real quick and let's paste some code in that code behind. That's going to be on the card. We probably don't want to do that. Let's do it on the search page because let's break the thing that's probably the most important, yeah? All right, so this is wanting shiny.internet access, but we need Xamarin Forms.internet access. Okay, so Shiny provides us some stuff, so we probably need to pay attention to that. All right, and let's remove the redundant remove redundant qualifiers in the file. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking at. We are looking at an observable from event pattern, and I'm going to talk about this in a second because I've been trying to reach out to more people and explain to them that observable from event pattern has a cost, and if you don't need to incur that cost, don't. There's some reflection cost, and I'm going to show you how to use observable.from event as opposed to event pattern. You can get like a 40% performance boost. I've seen the numbers where people are like, "Oh, you get a performance boost," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, performance boost." And I saw the percentage, and I was like, I can't ignore those numbers, even if they're fake. Like I can't ignore them now. So you'll notice here, this is a connectivity changed thing that comes directly from Xamarin Forms, right? And we're providing a handler. So this is how we wrap a observable from an event, right? So like we are literally creating an observable from an event. So we're taking an event and we're saying, hey, any events that come out of this connectivity change or connectivity changed event handler, we want to grab, right? And this is doing a first async on the events. I'm not sure I would do that, but still, we're gonna play with it. So that's basically what we get. And what we get from a result of that is we get an observable pipeline that we can do all sorts of RX operators on it, like throttle, or we can do dot buffer, and then we can get the buffer that gives us access to a list of changes. We can do, what else can we do? We can defer it. We can observe on a specific thread. We can do whatever we want from here, right? This is basically saying, hey, we've got an observable pipeline. So you'll notice that in order to do this, I have to do Xamarin.connectivity changed, right? And the way that the blog author is and let me make sure, Ahmed Fuhad, I believe is his name, but I'm not sure, so hopefully I didn't butcher it. He's creating, and I actually like the concept, he's creating a class that has the subscription in it and is a disposable. It has an iDisposable, and it implements or cancellation token source. So he's creating an observable cancellation token source, and then he's using an extension method to just say, hey, I'm going to provide you an observable cancellation token source. That works, and it's good, right? Because then you can basically do this observable from event pattern, and then do here, you can just do like a dot to cancellation token source. And I'm going to bring in all his code in a minute, and we're going to watch it run, and then we're going to hopefully iterate on it and make it, hopefully make it better. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe we're just going to inline it. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see how the day takes us. But now we've got this thing that we can create a cancellation token source from, and as a result of that cancellation token source, we can then do some magic and cancel a request. So I'm going to copy and paste his code and bring it in. Yep, we're literally just going to paste it like right in the thing. And we're going to just do the stuff. This is probably the end of that class and still in that namespace. Base.dispose, cancellation token source. All right, so we brought in the cancellation token source. So he's doing a iObservable. He's doing this cancel. What is cancel? Okay, cancel is from the cancellation source. So we're doing all that. Where were we? Here we are. And then we're doing a .subscribe. So we're passing the token. So we get a token, whatever token is there. We're going to subscribe on the token. And then we're just going to cancel. Seems straightforward enough, right? Watch me butcher this and won't be able to get it to work. All right. Well, actually, yeah, I've got an issue anyway because my stuff doesn't run asynchronously. So we're going to see how this goes here shortly because we need to provide a cancellation token source. So cancellation token source will then go into the thing. Really what we just want to do is we just want to cancel. We actually don't even want to do this. We just want to cancel. We want to do like a take until. Yeah, we want to do like a take until on our observable. So we may actually just play around with some of this stuff and some of these concepts. Want to become famous? No? Yay. Oh, wait, who's talking about Sexton and Slack? Is that you? Oh, Camzone? Was that me and you who were talking earlier about that? Yeah. It's funny. It's funny how that works. Yeah, I was losing track of time myself. Oh, the start of the episode, there's not much going on. We're literally just talking about a blog post. I posted it earlier, but I'm gonna repost it again because I know you don't get fidelity on stuff that wasn't there. So there's a blog post again, and we're just talking about creating a cancellation token source to cancel your requests. But the application that we're in actually uses, so what we're using behind the scenes is we're using Refit. And Refit supports iObservable out of the box. So we actually don't need to create a cancellation token source to pass in to our asynchronous request. We can just do like a take until, this observable ticks a specific way. And what I was bringing up was that I know Ryan Davis has some interfaces for Xamarin Essentials. I have some similar ones that create an API surface specifically for observables, and I have implementation for those things. I will say that his implementation is better because he is hands off. He doesn't have to do anything when all he has to do is like kick off a new build and his stuff just works automatically. I probably need to get to that point, but I'm lazy. So here we go. So this is how he's doing it. Like this is all the code that's in there. He's creating this observable cancellation token source, which takes in an observable and does a thing. I'm almost of the mindset where you could technically just pass the thing. Oh, wait, no, because you have to subscribe to the observable. Oh, we're subscribing to the connectivity change, right? So the connectivity change is what's going to give you this cancellation. So this is going to be like var cancellation. And I'm explicitly doing something on this blog post because I read it a while ago and I was like, this is an interesting concept. And I wanted to give the guy a little bit of creds and get some people to, because I mean, you don't see a lot of people blogging about RX, specifically not RX and Xamarin. So like the fact that I found this was very intriguing because I hadn't thought about doing this. I thought about doing it a slightly different way. But that's because most of my network requests in my own personal applications, I try and make them observables anyway. I try and model asynchrony using observables as opposed to the TPL. So that's a Rodney thing that he endeavors to do to try and break his own brain and make himself feel smart for no reason. Oh man, that's funny to me. Anywho, so back to where we weren't. We were looking at this thing. So this is basically going to be our cancellation token source. Yeah, it's going to be our observable cancellation token source. And then we can use the cancellation token, right? Whenever we want to use the thing. I think that maybe I would want to, instead of doing it this way and passing one that I have to use all the time, I would want to project this maybe as like a single instance. Because the reality of it is that I don't want to new this thing up every time, right? And I don't want it, and I want to, like, this thing doesn't really change, right? Very often. So then, if this thing doesn't change, well, let me phrase it. The underlying observable itself doesn't need to change, meaning I don't need a new observable every single time the connectivity change event handler happens, right? I can still reuse the same single observable, honestly, throughout my entire Xamarin application. So this is where those interfaces come in, and I will now show you if I am worth half my salt. Cancellation token will do eye connectivity. Hey, Rodney's awesome. I see that Shiny has one too. So like now I want to see what Shiny's eye connectivity is, right? Eye connectivity. Let me do Shiny dot icon. What? I thought I saw it. Was it not an option? Eye connectivity in Shiny, right? Shiny connectivity equals new implementation. Yeah, we'll just see what this thing does. We'll see what this interface has on it. Okay, so network reach, network access, cellular. Okay, it notifies property change out. So it itself notifies property change, which I think is similar to the way my implementation does. If it's not notifying property change, I think it is itself subscribable. One of the three. But let's take that out because I don't want to use Shiny's implementation. I want to use my implementation right now to talk about the fact that I just created like a thin wrapper around it. I have water around here somewhere. And all the water that I've had in like the last hour, I'm probably going to have to like excuse myself here live on stream. Yeah, I thought that was funny. So it's a simple thin decorator around what you get out of Xamarin Essentials. But you'll notice instead of projecting an event handler, what I'm projecting is actually the eye observable of connectivity changed. So I kind of get a little bit further down the road because now I can register my connectivity as a single instance and project that connectivity out into all my view models, and now I have a single source of truth. So extending on this, what I think I want is like an extension method. No, because I want to do it on another observable. So I would want to do on my network requests. So let's go to our network layer where we're doing our iStore service. And the question is, where do we want to cancel it? I guess we would want to cancel it closest to the metal and not like further up in the junk. So we'd want to do it on this implementation, right? We'd want to be able to do get stores. Okay, so here we go. Let's have fun. Do we want to do it in the service? So now it's a question of, is this a concern of the service? So should the service have to know about connectivity changes, or should the view model where it's called? I'm gonna go with today. I'm gonna go with the view model where it's called. Tomorrow I may have a much better idea about how to do that. But today we're just gonna do it here because that makes it easy for me. So I've got a mechanical keyboard and I bang on this thing pretty hard, and my keys, like my delete key, pops off like every other hour now, and I'm just like, ugh. And I've taken the whole thing apart, stripped it, cleaned it, put it back, and now the delete key's doing it again. I'm just like, no, don't do the thing. All right, so now we got connectivity, and we can say stuff like, do we want to create a, no, we got a connectivity observable, and we want to stash off an observable that gives us the ability to do what? And this is where I'm saying we may want an extension method, right? Or we may want some extension method on the iConnectivity. Because the iConnectivity is going to give us something like this, right? So we can say, so we can even actually do it on the command, right? Like that's where things get fun. I won't do it on the command though, because that seems like it might get weird. And now we're like literally freestyling, right? This is what we like. Right? This is where live coding becomes fun, right? When the Yahoo that's writing the code has no idea what's going on. All right, so we do that. We subscribe to the thing, and what are you yelling at me about? You are yelling at me about add reference to Xamarin Essentials. Why on earth would I want to do that? I explicitly don't want to do that. Ooh, oh, I know why. I know why. Because we aren't smart enough to understand how to abstract things properly. What I should do, in what I probably will do, and it'll be a breaking change, and I kind of don't care, is I need to go back and actually change my thing to not use. I need to actually write a full proper decorator so that I don't have to take an abstraction on, or I'm sorry, a dependency on Xamarin Forms. I have to take a dependency on Xamarin Forms because I just wrote a thin decorator around it, but what I really need to write is like something that doesn't depend on Xamarin Forms. You know, hindsight's always 60/40, isn't it? So we don't want to subscribe. What we want to do is when the connectivity changes, right, we want to do where... Why are my ligatures not working? Come on, Ryder. Why are you drunk today? I'm going to need you to get it together. Why... How did my font ligatures get disabled? Who does that? How long have I been coding without them? That's the scarier question. How long did it take me to notice that those things were... it might have been like days and weeks at this point. All right, so we're network access dot network access not equal to internet, right? So anytime that the network access is not equal to the internet, we want this thing to do stuff, right? That's why I say an extension method might be in an order or what have you, but we're going to stash this off into some underscore. Naming things is hard, and it's a wall at the end of the week, so let's give it a good name. Yeah, let's call it underscore I has no internets. Yeah, let's call it that, because at this point, who cares? I has no internets. The internets is gone. Just typed correctly on the first try, then you don't need to delete key. Matt Coke 87, thank you for your pragmatism, sir. Yeah, if I was good at what I do, I wouldn't need a delete key. Yeah, you're right. If I knew how to use Rider, I wouldn't have half the problems that I have. I know. Okay, so we have no internets, and then we're going to do a thing here where we're just going to say, hey, if the thing is doing the stuff. So on the search page, we don't actually make a network request, do we? No, we do make a network request. We make a network request on search. We do get stores. All right, yeah, because that's an I observable. So if... Okay, so... I guess we probably only want to do it if we're forcing an update. I don't know, that seems kind of weird, but... we're going to do that, and we're going to do a take until underscore I has internets. I has no internet. So we're going to do a take until. I think that's right. Yeah, so now because everything is in my observable pipeline, I can do this nice fancy take until I has no internets, and then hopefully... I don't know how I'm going to actually test this, because if I take the internet off for my emulator, I'm going to disconnect from my live stream, which would probably be like not good. So I don't know how I'm going to test this, but I'm going to just tell you, trust me, like this should work, right? But no, I actually do want to, but no, I think we can play around with that, because we can bring in Where are we doing? We're doing our registration here, right? We have a startup class. Yeah, we do. We have startup. In startup, we have app startup. And oh, no, that's all app startup stuff. That's the wrong thing. We need to do this in the forms project in the SocialQ startup, where we're registering all of the dependencies. And we're going to register what? We're going to register a single instance. So we're going to do dot add singleton I connectivity, and we're going to do a mocks dot nope. And we're going to have to bring in that one. All right, so let's bring in the thing. Let's go back to the NuGet Explorer. Let's do rocket dot. Well, and the funniest thing is like the delete key is blowing up, but the backspace key is just fine. And I don't know if that means that I've just been consciously trying to use the delete key as opposed to the backspace key. But whatever. We want to stick to some forms. Yeah, that's where we want to put it. That's where we're going to register our dependency. Yay, we've got mocks. And we're going to do connectivity mock. Is that not what we called it, or did we call it mock connectivity? Was this back in the day where I didn't like to put mock at the end? All right, let's pull out the fully qualified namespace. Oh, we probably need to restore, I guess. Did it not restore? We have mocks. Essentials. Dot mocks dot. So you're gonna play the game. All the packages were restored. So now I gotta go check my own GitHub and see what I com/Rocket Surgeons Guild essentials. Boom. Rocket Surgeons dot thing plus stuff. It's sad when you go like finally go use your own code and you don't even know what your own code does. Yep, I called it mock. Mock connectivity essential. But it doesn't matter because I'm still not. Oh. I'm just bad at this. Here we go. I need to go break changes in my stuff. Nope, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to add this mock connectivity bit. Cam zone, because that's basically what it is. I'm probably closer to like 6.5, but and I'm not drunk, but yeah, just type mock and search in what's you talking about in here? But yeah, naming things is hard, and like we name things poorly. Like, and I used to put the mock at the front, but now I put the mock at the end. So, ugh. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and clean up all this stuff and push a 1.0 package and be like, yay, YOLOs. Oh, but now that there's like source generation, what I can do is I can actually take the source from Xamarin and generate my own events internal to the package. Writing a to-do, play with more source generation. So yeah, so I've got this mock connectivity essential. We've got a scheduler that we've got to give it so that we can tell it where to run, which is for unit testing purposes, or maybe it's for other purposes. I don't remember. And then we're just going to do, wow, this is the decompiled source. I've not really looked at the decompiled source of these things in a while. This is awesome. So we'll do observable.interval.select connectivity stuff. Also, I can give it an IEnumerable of things that I don't want it to use. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to network access. And if I say network access constrained internets, right? I'm hoping that I see all this stuff tick. This is how I can actually test it. So when I go to I have to give it an implementation. So when I come back over here, I got to do Does Add Singleton have a factory? Does it allow you to factory things out? I want to say it does. So I should be able to do like provider where, yep, I can give it a scheduler. So I'll do RX app dot. Why don't I have access to RX app? Dear. Um, so my wife just walked in on me and she's just like giving zero cares that I'm like got all these lights on and live stream. I'm just like, hey, why don't you not open my office door and give me some privacy? Yeah, source generators. I know you love source generators. Um, Source generators are awesome. All right, so fine. Let's do task pool scheduler dot default. So that's where it's gonna run on. So we may end up having to do like an observe on. We want to give it network accesses, and we want to do new array of network accesses, and we want to give it network access dot unknown, because who doesn't like the unknown? I feel like everybody likes the unknown, right? What's not to like about the unknown? Yeah, naming things is hard, and I'm not good at it. All right, so my connectivity. So this thing will only spew back, or it'll only flip between the ones that we give it. So like I want to give it like internet, and I want to do like oof. I want to give it like constrained internets. So now we got the thing. So it'll go cycle between these three things on a 2-second interval, and hopefully we'll be able to get that thing to tick in our view model. We wrote some code somewhere that I know we need to go back and delete. Here. This is going to blow up. So then we're actually just going to delete this. So again, the blog post was interesting. I like the overall approach, and I like the fact that he was wrapping it in an observable event pattern. But observable event pattern is actually not as performant as observable from event. The only time you need from event pattern is when you have an actual when you need access to the sender. That's what it is. And I don't think that you actually need it. I think there's a way around it, but that's generally the only time you really want to use from event pattern is when you have an actual thing. And it's funny, Matt, that now that you're here, I was actually thinking about working on the. I've got a reason now to, in earnest, start working on those resharper refactoring things, because now I've got some code fixes that I want to also do as well. So I'm gonna have to pick your brain on that. I think I've got everything set up in a repo, and if you want to submit yours as the first pull request because you did the majority of the work. If not, then I'll just put you on as a co-author on me submitting the first one to the repo. Because we want to make sure that people get credit for the work they do. Like I have no problem stealing somebody else's code. I have a problem stealing somebody else's code and sectioning it off as mine. Right? Like I've stolen from some of the best developers in the world. Because if you're not stealing from the best, like, are you doing the thing properly? Anywho, so, and yeah, I don't know if you know, Matt, because you know Ryder better than I do. If you can tell me why Ryder hates me right now and wants to make everything red and has been doing this to me all day, even after I've like invalidated cache and restarted a couple times. Now, granted, I just spun up the EAP version and I do have .NET 5 installed, so I don't know if that has something to do with it, but here we are. I've got all of these red squigglies, and in reality, none of these things are actually red. Ryder's just telling me that it doesn't like me because I apparently smell funny or something. I don't know. Let's click buttons and see if we let's at least see if we broke anything. Oh, the whole time I've got the emulator up, and there's been no point in even looking at the emulator. I'm so good at live streaming. So it's funny, Camzone. Like we make that joke, but I've actually seen that in code once or twice in my life. Hey, how about we undo? Okay, undo the stuff for the project. Whatever. You win, I lose. Oh, because it can't resolve the thing. It's taking out all of my XAML compilations in my export font, which I want to say somebody on stream recommended that I look at the new way to do that, and I think I did that recently, either on stream or off the stream. But Yeah, I looked at Montemagno's new way of doing this, and it's pretty slick, and I like it because it allowed like one of the things that I have is I've started putting, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm putting my all of my resources in a resource project because I have application concerns and domain concerns that both need access to the same localizations. So full disclosure, I'm a developer in America, and as a developer in America, you generally don't have to deal with localization. Um, the most people will do is localization to Spanish. On occasion, if you're in some of the northern states, they'll do stuff in English. Canada has French Canadian, but as a developer working on apps for American companies, most of the time I have not had to deal with any form of localization. So now that I'm dealing with more localization, I'm actually starting to force myself into this pattern of putting resources out into their own thing. So that's what that is, and that's why that blew up. Matt's probably yelling at me. Hard to tell from here. Force NuGet restore action. So force NuGet restore action would be no different than if I just did .NET restore with no cache and force, right? I think. Pretty sure. Hard to tell from here, he says. I'll just chalk it up to the fact that I literally, and you probably saw my tweet, Matt. Like I legitimately upgraded to this to EAP 7 like 5 minutes before I went live on stream because I'm like, I don't care. I love Ryder. I trust Ryder. If I knew what it was. Okay, so the app builds, and that's a good thing. I kind of want to like put some UI around that connectivity change so we can prove that it's actually ticking. Maybe I think we'll do that real quick. So we stop the app. We'll go back to just some code. And where's the code that we're most of the code that we're looking at is in this file. So we're gonna do a close all but pinned. Close all tabs, unpin tab, reopen close tab. Where's my close all but pinned? What did you do with my favorite? Fine, we'll just use close tabs to the right, but I'm very upset. I don't see my. So, okay, first problem with the new EAP, I don't see close all but pinned, and it's just like, ooh, that's my favorite close operator. Um, not that I'm over here trying to, give you crap at all by any stretch of the imagination. I think you're great. I think JetBrains is great. I think Ryder's great. Ryder's like the most awesomest thingest ever. I think we can do like a dot. I had this conversation earlier, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be a good developer, and I'm not gonna do exactly what I said to someone earlier that I think is such a bad thing. So you're aware of what I was about to do. I was about to just do a do statement, right? And in my do statement, I was gonna do like let's see if we have it in here. Do we have access to the note? We have access to the notification manager. I don't think we have access to the dialogue service. So you have an iDialogues. Yep, we have an iDialogues in SocialQ. So we'll do dialogues, right? That becomes our dialogue service. So now we're injecting all the more things because who doesn't want more dependencies to resolve at runtime? What I was gonna do was this, right? Which is like so ridiculously bad. But and I'm gonna tell you why. I was just gonna tell you that it's bad. Um, what I was gonna do was just do this in the do statement. But I had a conversation earlier, and I was trying to explain to somebody that like I don't really like do, and I have a vendetta against the method, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the spec for do says that okay. So it's I don't know. You can see my Rider context menu yet because I'm sharing it in the thing. You can use JetBrains Toolbox to have side-by-side installs. So Camzone, it's so funny that you say that. Like, so Matt, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I think your Twitter handle is the same as your Twitch handle. So I'm just gonna say it, Matt. And if I out you, I'm sorry. But like Matt works with the Rider team, and Matt and I have been acquaintances, friends for the past. We've been acquaintances for a couple of years. We've been friends for the past couple of years, and I started using JetBrains like 2017, and I have not gone back. Like I refuse to use anything else. I absolutely refuse. Like if you want me to use Visual Studio Mac, I will tell you flat out my productivity will drop 30% minimum, minimum, minimum 30%. and it's just a thing. So yeah, I don't. And yes, I know I can do side by side installs, but I can't do side by side installs of the EAP versions. I can do side by side installs of the EAP and the regular version, and I have that side by side install, Matt. To your point, but I'm using EAP because it's live stream, YOLO. So anytime I'm doing my own work, I use EAP. If I'm doing like, day job work, I use the stable version only because I've had the EAP mess with me a couple of times, and it's like, okay, I don't want to lose time. But yeah, Rider makes me happy. Rider is awesome. Like I said, I just enabled ligatures. Like ligatures are awesome. I love ligatures. They have a built-in font. I actually moved to the mono font that comes from Rider proper now, as opposed to Fire Code recently, because why not? But back to the do. Okay, because I'm going on tangents. So the do invokes an action for each element in the observable sequence and propagates all observer messages through the result sequence, right? So this method can be used for debugging, logging, etc. of the query behavior by interceptor, but the message stream to run the arbitrary actions for the messages in the pipeline. So this is really actually an out of process method. So what do I mean by out of process? I mean that it is not happening in the context of the observable pipeline. If I want to run this in the context of the observable pipeline, I technically want to run it in the subscription. The subscribe, on the other hand, says subscribes an element to the handler to the observable sequence. So the do is basically saying, hey, go invoke this action, right? But it's not really the thing that we want to do if we wanted to do something on the observable pipeline, right? Like if we wanted to transform an object on the observable pipeline and pass the resultant transform down the observable pipeline, do is not what we want. Do will not get us there. Do is bad. But if we want to log out a message that says, hey, the thing ticked, then do is exactly what we want, right? So for the alert, could do what I want it to do. Ugh. It could do the job. It could make it work, right? But I have a vendetta against this method because what happens is what I see is this. I see like these grandiose observable pipelines that people are doing, and they do like 5 do statements in one pipeline and they call it reactive. And I'm like, yeah, it is, right? Because you're using reactive extensions. Don't get me wrong. But it shows that you don't understand how to compose an observable. And that's kind of really the big deal. So here I'm going to show you that I can compose an observable because like I'm using the observable and I'm subscribing here, but I can also pass the observable on later and use a different manifestation or a different event handler for the thing, which I did. Where do we do the take until? Yeah, somebody should take my keys. I am in no position to drive. Here we go. So this thing will actually give us a different handler. It'll give us a different event handler or subscription per subscribe. So getting back to it, here we go. So we got this. We're actually going to put a dispose with on here because we want to be good to stewards. Dispose with. Why are you telling me you don't have access to dispose? Oh, because we don't have reactive UI. Oh, isn't that special? All right, we want to do subscriptions. Give me 1 second, folks. Turn this. Had to turn that fan on. It was getting warm in here. All these lights and junk and stuff. Okay, so we want to do subscriptions. So we'll copy that out because copy pasta is the way to go. We got the dispose widths in here, so let's do the dispose. Okay, so we already had it, so that means obviously we're doing the right thing somewhere. And we'll say in the thing, we'll go ahead and use some string interpolations, and we'll say the internet has moved, right? Because we like internet that moves out from under us. We'll take the event args, we'll get the network access, and that will give us, that should give us whatever the network access is, right? So let's prove that this thing is doing some stuff and not just take Rodney's word for it because I will lie to you. I will tell you that the code works and the code doesn't work. Because, I'm a classic developer. Hell, it worked on my machine. Who knows what your problem is? I was dealing with that with a tester earlier today. I'm trying to reproduce an iOS crash that I'm not able to reproduce very easily. I spent half the day yesterday just clearing out other issues, getting to the point where I could recreate the issue. I recreate the crash. I solved the crash. I test it like 3-4 times. It's working. Everything's good. I push it to QA, and QA's like, oh, nope, still crashing. And I'm like, thank you, Xamarin Forms, for botching the collection view implementation. We love you. Maybe we don't. Oh, I don't see anything on the screen. So let's start putting breakpoints in places. Again, reasons why we love Rider. Rider lets us put breakpoints. Okay, reason number one, as a functional developer, and I'll caveat it with that. Reason number one, as a functional developer, I cannot live without Rider. And I know you're going to tell me, oh, Rodney, Visual Studio can do it too. Yeah, it can with way more flipping clicks, right? Rider's got the user experience figured out. I click over here and it says, hey, Rodney, I see that you want to put a breakpoint either on this line, on this particular part, or in the where clause. And what does it do? I put it on there while the observable pipeline is already ticking, and lo and behold, it gives me the thing. And it's just like, oh, how amazing can you be? F5's not working, though. That's weird. I'm just going to accept the fact that I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, because the thing is ticking every 2 seconds. All right, so now I should be doing this. Oh, derp. Who saw what I did there? Who's paying attention to what Rodney's doing? No one's paying attention. Can we merge them? I just want a notification. Okay, so I was actually running into this earlier, and somebody who's better with RX than me, if you're watching, tell me this. All right, so what we have is we have an observable that we want to do a thing. I guess I could do like a take while. Yeah, I actually can do a take while. Let's see if that works. I don't know that it will, but we'll try it. We actually have to subscribe to this thing, which is where this whole bit gets weird. I think what we want to do is we want to do like a .combine latest. Or technically what I can do is I can do fun stuff. I'll just do a combine latest for now because the rest of that's overkill. We'll do a combine latest on the event args, right? So we've got some event arguments that we're going to then going to say, hey, we've got an event args, some event args, and then we'll do a nice pretty selector. Oh wait, I'm doing that. See, that seems weird to me if I want to combine those two things. I don't really want to combine latest. I just want to do I want to force a subscription when this other thing happens. This is gonna be bad RX code, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this later because I can't think well right now. All right, so that's what we're subscribing to. I don't want to do like a fork join because that's weird. I don't want to like Man, look, anyone that tells me that they don't like ReSharper, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I don't understand how you do your job, right? Like, I don't understand how you do your job effectively. Testing Xamarin iOS is hard, period. So, boo. From Windows, in my opinion. But yeah, I just don't understand how you get things done because like Rider just gives me a good productivity boost. Now, granted, Visual Studio has made a lot of good lengths recently to get things better, but still no, I still think that Rider is the business. Oh, here we go. Rodney's thinking with his brain powers. Dot switch. There we go. That's how we do the thing. Okay, so when I have no internet, I'll select the alert dialog and then I'll switch on the observable. Wow, it took us too long to think of that. Because we're talking, we're having fun. Huh. Oh yeah, multiple enumerations. So, okay, CamZone, you're a Xamarin dev and you play with RX, so you understand. We had an issue the other day where because of the possible enumeration issue, which, for the record, Ryder, which all of the team uses, pointed out in plain English, hey, dumbass, you're about to do this thing. Because it was creating multiple enumerations, I actually had an observable pipeline that would not complete. So I ran into an endless loop with an observable pipeline and an enumeration that was changing. And when I tell you, I sat there for 2 whole minutes 2 whole minutes waiting for this thing to do something. And I sat and I looked at the code and I was pairing with somebody and I looked at it and I was like, oh, dude. He's like, Rodney, we should make this a list. I'm like, yeah, let's make that a list and see if this enumeration thing goes away. And lo and behold, that fixed it. So again, had the developer just hit Alt Enter and done what Ryder told him to do, could have saved us like an hour's worth of looking at a problem. I digress. I'll get off my Ryder soapbox. I'm sorry if anybody watching. And for the record, like, JetBrains does not pay me any monies. Like, JetBrains pays me no monies, folks. So, you know, they're not. It's not like I'm over here. I sing their praises because I appreciate their IDE. And I was not an IntelliJ fan. Matt will tell you, I was not an IntelliJ fan when I started using Ryder. I'm still not really an IntelliJ fan, but you know what? Ryder is my sauce. It's my sauce. Like, it's the only thing that keeps me productive being on a Mac. All right, we're going back to the emulators or the simulator, iOS simulator, Go Gadget Simulator. Doing the thing with the stuff. Oh no, network access is doing stuff. Next thing, we're gonna have to actually report this thing out onto the UI thread. Hey, we should be hitting. Are we not hitting it? There we go. Okay, so we don't need that breakpoint anymore, and we'll go ahead and hit enter. Ha ha! Look at the thing do the stuff. That's awesome. I love it. All right, so now I've at least proved to you that I am not a liar. He's a liar. He's lying. Yep, internet has moved. Constrained internet. Okay, so you see that I'm... Why is it only hitting that one case, though? It should... Wait a minute. Now I'm wondering if my because I tested these. So the mock implementations under the hood that we registered here, this just kind of gives you the ability to do the thing. It's mocking out the thing and it's giving you access to stuff. Why it's only giving me back this one when it should be cycling through them, I don't know. That's a problem for another day. That means my implementation is janky and I need to fix it. I did unit test it, but who knows. So I can wire this up to the actual connectivity essential, and then that will give me access to Xamarin's actual bits. But I don't want to do it as an alert. Let's do it as a toast. Let's change that so that we do, instead of dialogue, we do like something else. It's not as invasive and forcing us to do stuff. Let's do the snack bar. We like snack bars, don't we? All right, so we got a snack bar thing that'll happen. I think we actually want to change that so the snack bar runs at the top. Let's see if we... Pretty sure we're using it somewhere in this application. Instance snack bar, new material snack bar, store name stuff. I think I'm defaulting my implementation to use the top. Yes, I am. And I'm telling it to use it on the main thread scheduler. So this is, I'm gonna get into this real quick. This is another thing, and it's funny, Matt. Here is another resharper rule that I want to code up. You'll notice that observable, and we're in observable.fromAsync has an overload that gives you a scheduler. I'm going to create a resharper warning that highlights your usage of this operator when you do not provide it a scheduler instance. Because I think that that'll give a lot of RX developers a lot of lift, right? Hey, we know that this is the best practice to use this scheduler, and you may just be cherry picking operators to see which one will actually solve your problem, and you don't know what overloads that operator has, and you don't want to dig through all the operator stuff. I want ReSharper to say, hey, smart guy who does the RX thing, give me a scheduler or go home, right? And I want to be able to put it in your face. And then if it's a ReSharper warning, then you can make it. Then you can change it to an error and explicitly have your builds fail if developers aren't doing what you expect them to do. If whatever your team's dependencies are, All right, so now we can rerun this, and then we can write code over the top of this because I still don't understand. I want to see if I tick a value. I want to see this thing actually cancel, don't we? And I can't put a breakpoint there. Let's see what take until actually has, right? So speaking of digging through RX operators, I am known for digging through code. As a matter of fact, my blog post, my blog, the description on it is "This is a journey into code," which is stolen directly from a Rakim song, which Rakim is, the God MC. Um, it, 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 uh, it talks about like I just dig in the code, like, and that's what I do. Like half the time I just dig in, and again because Rider is awesome. I just F12 into stuff anytime I want. It just decompiles source and shows me stuff that I want to see. So I can always take a look at your bad implementation. Okay, so yeah, constrained internet has changed. It's doing stuff and things. Yay. I actually want to change that because it's never going to tick. Oh. Are we doing that? Am I that smart? I am that smart. I am so smart. Yeah, so you notice we're doing where the internet is not internet, so it's always going to have no internet, so that's fine. Well, that's what we want anyway, right? Because that's what we want that thing to do in this instance. We want to tell it when we has no internets. So tell me I has no internets. I may want to make that configurable so I can pass in a color to the thing and make it not look weird. Hey, give me a color so I don't look so gray and drab. Um, so here we are. We've got connectivity change where, and I'm gonna assume that we're hitting that take until, but like now I'm gonna have to force. I think I can force it. I think I can force it if I do pull to refresh. Let's find out. Is pull to refresh enabled here? Oh, maybe I have to search for something first, huh? So I'll click the search button. The only problem is I have no, it's not pull to refresh enabled, which is I think by design. Search is doing something. So I think it may have actually done. It's like I don't have a good way to show that this is doing something. Right? Oh, maybe I do. Maybe. No, I don't. Because take until take until is not skip until. Skip until will say don't do anything until I get this condition. Take until says I'm a fire hose until you tell me to stop. Which is kind of the condition that we're running into. When to provide a scheduler. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. So oh wait. Yeah, I gotta say every time I hear the stream derails, I just want to see some Xamarin Reactive UI stuff. You know what? Yeah, every time you hear the stream does derail, but you know what? So you're like you're a friend, and I want to glorify the fact that you do awesome stuff, and I get a chance to consume your awesome stuff. So I am one of your favorite consumers. So there, be mad. Um, and yes, Camzone, I think that, and that's exactly why we brought Matt on, and that's exactly why Matt's saying it gets derailed because that is valuable stuff, right? And I think that would be good for a lot of people. Get store metadata. I want to get I want to say we should be able to put this on a page that can pull to refresh and verify that we've got a refresh in here somewhere. I know I do. Refresh. That's auto refresh. We definitely don't want it to be auto refresh. RX refresh. Time functions are refreshing. I don't have words in. Okay, so maybe I don't have a refresh. Is pull. Okay, pull refresh isn't enabled. Oh, that's right. That I did that on a different branch, and I don't have that stuff. All right, so we'll do some more. How do we verify that the thing is happening? We have to explicitly hit search while we know the thing is pumping a value that we don't like. So we can do a delay. How about this? Oh, we already have a delay, I'm pretty sure. So let's go to the implementation of stores, and then we're doing stores, get force API client. So I think, pretty sure we have a mock API client implementation. Or is it up one? Is it up one more? Yep, we have a mock API contract, which allows me to mock the closest to the metal. What do we want to do? How do we want to solve the thing and do the stuff, huh? I think in our API client we have, or in our API contract, we have two implement. No, we're implementing at the contract level, so we've got to have. This thing has to have multiple inheritors. Either that, or I don't know how to build stuff. That's probably what's going on. Get stores, iStore service. You heard it first here. Rodney has no idea what he's doing. Implementation get store metadata, which makes sense. API client, which only has a single inheritor, which again kind of makes sense. Inheritor is that. The API contract has only a single inheritor, which is that, or the API client. Oh, the contract, that's what we want. And the contract has an implementation, which is the mock. Here we go. Okay. So we've already got a delay on get stores. We got a 5-second delay. We're going to bump this up to like a 10-second delay so we can force it to hit the thing. And then we're going to come back over here where we did stuff. We're going to make it so that it always ticks that it has no internets, because we don't want it to take anything but it has no internets for the moment. And that way we can force the thing to not work, which means on the initial load, because we're doing initialize. So, okay, we're doing this trick, which if you don't know this trick is awesome. I love it. You see how I have this private execute initialize data? This is the method that initializes my view model asynchronously, and this gets called from my view, and I'll show you how it gets called in a second, because we're gonna care about this in a minute. It's calling the initialize data thing. So if we hit Control B and we find the usage, it's getting called here in the reactive. Oh no! I should be able to. It should be doing like an invoke somewhere. Here we go. Invoke command on search. On the text change, item source initialize. Here we go. So I'm doing a when property change on the view model. When the view model has a value, I select a unit and I say, hey, go get me data. So this is a way that I can, from the view, when the view model is instantiated, so Xamarin Forms, the way it works, Xamarin Forms, the way it works, it doesn't care, but it creates the view and then it puts the view onto the stack. So if it needs to create a dependency, i.e. a view model, it will create the view, it'll create the view model will get a value, the value will then tick, and then the view will get put on the stack. So what I'm doing here essentially is asynchronously going to get data during the actual navigation. That's technically what I'm doing. And if you notice here, Camzone, oh yeah, you were here last week when I swapped out for the when property changes, and I talked to Glenn earlier today, about an hour or so ago, and he was like, yeah, right, I'm going to make some more changes to this stuff. So this is an iterative thing that we're playing with, which is why it's in Marbles, but eventually this will get rolled back in to reactive UI proper. But this is the way that I'm saying, hey, when my Xamarin view gets constructed and I know that the property change notification for the view model happens, i.e. the binding context for Xamarin is set, go get me some data. And that data that I'm going to go get is, I'm just calling this execute initialize method. Execute initialize method is going to do a create observer, and it's going to go say, hey, get me stores, and hey, go get me some other stuff. Oh. Okay, so this is where this gets kind of bad, because I don't want to put this I has stuff everywhere. I think I want to put it directly on the execution of the reactive command, but we'll get there here in a minute, right? Because we want to take until that happens. So the reason why we're doing it this way is because now when I spin this thing up, it should take 10 seconds for that second call to come back. And in that time, 2 seconds should elapse because it's a 2-second time interval. And I should get a thing that says the network connectivity. Oh, wait, let me stop it. Control pause break because Rodney just did the thing. Okay, we'll just run it and see what happens. Hey, you notice how my spinner went away? Oop, yep, that's how you know we did something good, because we got a global exception handler break. What did we break? Well, at least it did the thing, right? So that's halfway there. I always say that as long as I'm getting new exceptions, we're taking steps in the right direction. So we've got a value on the thing. Go gadget debugger. Debugger says every time Matt's mad because every time he comes and shows up and hangs out, I talk about him. Be mad. Matt is also the maintainer and creator of Nuke Build, which is one of my new like hotness things. Well, not really new hotness because it's been around for a while, but like I'm new on it, not really new on it. I've been using it for like a year, but like I love Nuke. Nuke is awesome. Nuke solves a lot of the concerns that Cake did not solve for me. It's more developer friendly, and if you're a developer and you want a build script in C Sharp, I would look at Nuke. So I just did a shameless plug for Matt's stuff. Sequence contains no matching elements. Oh no, we definitely broke something good. That's how you know you broke something good, when it breaks and you don't even know, like, you can't even see this. There's no stack trace. There we go, there's a stack trace. We broke it in the what? In the select clause. Or we're not even getting like, oh yeah, okay, in the Xamarin Essentials mocks. Yikes. That means that we can't just give it one value, we have to give it two value. That's an implementation detail that we should not be responsible for as a consumer, which means I'm going to put an issue on that guy's repo that wrote this crap and tell him to fix it. Fix your stuff, man. It's junk. I used it and it broke. I want my money back. Oh, wait, I was going to do something else before I did that. Oh, I was going to point out something. What am I going to point out? I'm going to point out that there's a thing here that I don't like. What is it? What are we doing that I don't like? Oh yeah, I kind of want to do this on the actual command execution. So technically what I want to do is like initialize dot not is executing, because like the reactive command is itself observable. So I should be able to do like initialize data dot take until, and then the underscore I has no internets. I should technically be able to do that and just cancel the entire execution of the command. But I have a feeling that's going to break just as bad, so let's not do that just yet, because we want to have a decent enough live stream where she doesn't break. Yeah, Matt. Wait. What do you mean if no yo-yo, no love for me from you? What do you mean yo-yo? What yo-yo? Which yo-yo did I not do? It's hard because you guys are on a delay from me talking and I can't see all of the stuffs easily. Okay, so it didn't crash that time. And I think it did the thing. Yeah, it definitely canceled the spinner because the spinner didn't spin for 10 seconds. And every 2 seconds we're getting this thing. So I think I just proved how to cancel a request. Now, granted, I am using observables, caveat, to mirror my asynchronous programming, or to model my asynchronous programming. If you are not using observables, then you will have to use that cancellation token thing that I posted in the chat earlier, that I'll hopefully try and remember to put up as part of this live stream when I post it to the YouTubes. But yeah, that kind of shows us how to get some lift there, right? So then it becomes, and I think this is the point that we were making earlier, right? Like now I'm realizing that this thing is not enough. Really what I want to do is be able to say, I want an extension method that says, hey, when the connectivity changes, let me do like a selection. So let's do like let's do that real quick and just show how we would create our own custom extension method. Actually, we're gonna do this as internal. I'm getting to the point, and this is gonna be for anyone who's a consumer of RX. Anytime I create a new RX operator, I'm starting to think that internal is the best way to do it. So that way I don't mess up if I put it like in the system.reactive namespace and break stuff there. It's not the end of the world. So we'll do internal class connectivity functions. I used to use extensions. I'm starting to use functions more and more because I like the. I mean, we're doing functional programming, so I call it what it is. And we're like observable of connectivity changed event args, and we're gonna do wait public static that thing internal. Oh, we don't want that showing anymore. We can probably stop this. So internal static. Oh man, my shoulder's going numb. Public static internal class connectivity where change where access change, and we're gonna do a params array of network accesses. Yeah. So far, so good. All right. Wait, Matt, dude, it's 3 a.m. Why are you still up? Yeah, I am distracted streaming. The toy. I actually have a yo-yo somewhere that I bought. So okay, so again, we're getting off tangent, but who cares? It's my stream, and I like to talk. So I'm from New York originally, and there's a FA or used to be an FAO Schwartz in New York that I used to go to, where they had the big piano. Right? Who's ever seen the movie Big? They had the big piano there. Well, I actually need to do this. Observable of connectivity. So I the last time I was there, so my middle school science teacher used to do physics examples with yo-yos. So I bought a particular yo-yo the last time I was at that FAO Schwartz, and that FAO Schwartz no longer exists. So now I'm just like, oh, I'm glad I bought that thing while I was there, because you never know when the thing won't be there anymore. Event connection events dot where x network access dot contains. I don't want to do dot contains. I don't think. I actually want to do an actual logical or x. No, I kind of have to do it that way because it's a params array. X dot. No, I don't. X dot network access equals network access. Oh yeah, I do. I do have to do that, don't I? Where network accesses, and it's funny because like I've been trying to teach myself the TypeScript because I have friends that do TypeScript, and they tell me, oh, Rodney, you should do the TypeScript. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try and do the TypeScript. So like they have this pipe expression thing there where I feel like it should be like doable in .NET, but I don't think it is. Yeah, you don't ever get up early. Like I feel like you're on my time schedule and you're like 7 hours off from me half the time. So, all right. So we wrote our own custom extension method that will say, hey, give us a list of accesses and we'll give you back an observable pipeline that does the thing. So now we can come back over here and we can consume said thing, and we can say connectivity changed, which is our observable, and we can do where access changed. Is that right? Where changes include internet. Yeah, that's right, because we're doing the dot contains. So we'll basically say, hey, if it has to contain the internets. Yeah, that should work. So we'll put a breakpoint here just to prove that, again, Ryder being flipping awesome and saying, hey, do you want to put the breakpoint here? Do you want to put the breakpoint here? Where do you want to put the breakpoint, Rodney? I want to put the breakpoint right there. It doesn't make me, well, it does make me click an extra button. It doesn't make me click an extra button to get to the context menu. It just lets me get directly to the important parts. Give me the good use. Fell or felt? Fell. You fell asleep. Yeah, you fell asleep. Which is funny because you don't actually fall asleep. Like if you were to look at the verb to fall, like you don't actually fall asleep. You go to sleep. Or you have sleep. All right, so that tells me that our thing is working. The network accesses, we are saying it has to be internet. The network access that we are getting is this. All right, we're going to put a breakpoint here. And we're going to see, looks like our code is still working. Oh, now we're getting the inverse. X.network access, right? And then we're projecting the thing out. Gonna start questioning my life choices soon. Is that right? I guess. So where access change. Where access. Where access. No goodness. Here we go. Let's jump on Ryder a little bit more and talk about why we love this one now. So what? See, my key bindings aren't working, which means Ryder changed my default preferences. Let's go look. What is my key binding layout? Key binding editor, key map. IntelliJ OSX. Nope, that should work. Should be right. Okay. Oh, this has definitely changed. Yeah, somehow my where access reasons are. Right, because we want to know where the access reason is internet, right? And we want to say yeah, English is hard, and it's the only language I speak on a consistent basis. Well, at all, really. At all. My other language skills are non-existent at this point in my life. Network access contains, so we want to see the contains event connection events where network connectivity access. Oh. In this case, we want where reasons are not. Dun, dun, dun. So now if we go back over here and paste the codes in the place where the thing is doing the stuff. Okay, now we have a where access reasons are not internet. So where it's not internet, do some stuff. Well, Matt, if you're awake, like awake, then I may ping you after I get off the live stream to talk to you more about some of these analyzer stuffs. Not in depth. I just want to talk and get the repo set up and talk about the build process because I know we talked about it uses Gradle and I want to understand that so I can put together an accurate build. Come on. Boom! F5. No. Hit the thing. There we go. I did not want that to be a hindrance, so let's run it again. I want to prove that it actually does the stuff. Because there's also some code fixes that I was like, oh, I wonder how I would be able to do that. And I was like, ooh, I want to take a. Okay, Camzone, you work with reactive UI, so like another a refactor that would a code fix that would be useful. Yeah, if I was able to do like a right click refactor and say, hey, refactor this thing and take this reactive I notify property change property and convert it to an observable as property helper type property. Like I think like I ran into that the other day. I was like, I want to convert this, but there's no refactor for that. And I don't know if that's possible, right? Because I know I have code fixes where I find certain things, but that technically wouldn't be a code fix. That would just be a refactor that I would want to do because it's not actually fixing the code because the code's not wrong. I just want to add it to the refactor options. So I don't know if that's possible. It's probably not. But if it is, that means that JetBrains and Rider is even more awesome because they understand open close principle. Can't find the heart emoji. Right? Because like, how awesome would that be? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, I want to make. So one of the conversations I had recently was, Rodney, reactive UI is great, reactive program is great, but it's verbose. I'm like, it's nowhere near as verbose. But okay, when you add in all the IMPC stuff, yeah, I get it could be verbose. Well, what I want to do is I want to very easily be able to say, hey, you are a thing. I want you to be another thing. And I want to be able to say, hey, right now you're a winning value, but it changed to an observable, so let me code fix it. Oh yeah. I'll dump it into our chat later. If you're just on the phone, don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal, Matt. We can, and these are things like again we'll probably iterate over for a while. But all of these things will be available to everybody for usage, and that's kind of the main thing, right? Is finding a way to make everybody more productive. We've already got some ReSharper and Rider code snippets in Reactive UI. If you're not aware of that, I did a blog post on it. So Luis Matos did a code snippet thing not too long ago. So I, being the awesome person that I am, decided that I wanted to participate. He asked me to participate. I did not inject myself. He asked me, and I was like, well, yeah, I can do some stuff on that. So here is a blog post for anybody who cares about the snippets. So you can go grab snippets and do fun things with snippets. Why are you taking forever to rebuild? I don't like you. Stop. We're running up on the hour and a half mark, and I'm starting to get hungry, so I'm probably going to leave you guys here shortly and call today a slight success. We at least proved the fact that we can stop an observable from happening with a take until, and we can actually stop an observable from happening in response to connectivity change, which is an event. So now what we have effectively done, and it's funny because I always give this reason as to why one might want to use, yep, that worked, perfect. So why one might want to use RX. One might want to use RX because it gives you a consistent API to deal with both events and network requests. What does that mean? That means that in response to the connectivity changed network event, I am able to full stop a network request using the same API surface. I am using reactive extensions, and here I even I extended the extensions, right? I even extended reactive extensions to create my own custom extension method to get me more lift in my coding, and now I have this really nice take until that allows me to take this thing until I have no internet. And when I have no internet, stop. So now what we've done is we have I'm not going to call it coupled because it's not coupled, because it's really more of cohesion in all honesty. We have composed two observables. We have composed observables that have, I want to change that. I'm going to change that. We have composed two observables that allow us to interact with both a network request and an event. And we have said, hey, whenever this event fires, cancel this network request. Now, could this code be cleaned up? Could we make it more consumable? For sure. But it gives us a starting point, right? I have now said I no longer want this network request to continue because I don't have internet. How amazing would that be to be able to stop all your in-flight requests when the connectivity change event happens? And because this is registered as a single instance and is meant to be registered as a single instance, you are really only doing one subscription upstream to the thing. So technically what I should do is probably put a ref count on the upstream thing, so you always get access to the same observable and all subscribers are always getting access to the same thing. But this is a step in a good direction, right? So we showed how to do multiple observables. This is how we get around, instead of, and this is, I want to point this out real quick before I go, just from a good coding perspective, right? What we were trying to do with this statement and did not want to do and ended up kind of failing at was we were trying to do this subscribe, right? And I've seen people do this, so, and it's not, it is bad, but whatever, subscribe. What we wanted to do was surface a subscription to an observable as the result of some other observable ticking. And that's what this would look like, right? This basically is saying, hey, no. Sorry, here we go. This is basically saying, hey, when this thing happens, subscribe, and when this subscription happens, subscribe. This will create a memory leak, which we don't like. We don't like memory leaks because we're good developers. So what we instead want to do is we want to select out, so when this observable ticks, we're going to transform the observable pipeline to make it look like the snack bar observable, right? Because this returns an iObservable, and now we get iObservable of a type. Great. So then we just do switch and subscribe, and what we're doing is we're saying, hey, switch says take any observable sequence. So switch is only viable, so you can only actually even add switch to an observable pipeline when you have a multi-dimensional observable, right? So in IEnumerable, this would be IEnumerable of IEnumerable. But right now we have an iObservable of iObservable, so we only want to switch and get the most recent one because we don't really care about all those other ones, right? Give me the most recent subscription, let me subscribe to that thing and move on. So this is how we get around this bad coding practice of subscribing in a subscription. We can select it out, transform what the observable pipeline looks like, and then we can switch out and subscribe. So hopefully that, folks, will give you some lift in the future. Maybe if you didn't know that, hopefully you learned something about that today. Again, we always want to make sure people are learning. That's why we're doing this stream. If people aren't getting a chance to see different ways to interact with RX, different reasons why you would want to use RX, then this stream actually has no value. So I am going to pause or I'm actually just going to stop there. It's Friday night around 8:30 my time. Would you push all this? Is it not pushed? If the code isn't pushed to the SocialQ repo, I'll push it. There's a bug in Sextant that I actually fixed this week, and I got some preliminary eyes on my approach from some RX gurus, and the consensus was, it's not horrible. So I'm gonna get a pull request out and get that fixed, which should fix a bug that's in Sextant, which SocialQ is depending on. And once I fix that, then I can push all this stuff to SocialQ and it should work again. But I will make sure that this code gets pushed tonight. So matter of fact, how about this? So that I don't lie to you, and as we're signing off, git status, did I add new stuff? I didn't. Git commit am feature added rocket.surgery.xamarin.ease. No, we don't care about all that. We don't care about the library that we added. Connectivity changed, canceling requests, git push origin feature property changed. All right, so we'll do a dash force because we know we have, there we go. So it's pushed. So you have access to that branch, feature property change. You can go check it out. It hasn't been merged into main yet, but you can start looking at the code and have at it. There we are. It's Friday. It's now officially 8:30. I'm hungry, and I'm going to start getting hangry in a minute, and I don't want to do that to you folks. Somebody was yelling at me earlier saying, Rodney, you sound cranky, and I'm like, maybe it's because I'm hungry. Anyway, it's probably Saturday where some of you folks are. So if it's Saturday, have a great Saturday. If it's still Friday night, enjoy a beer, shot of whiskey, vodka, whatever your poison is. And I will see you guys next week where we talk about more RX. We might actually talk about RX and code fixes and source generators next week, but we'll see how the week shapes up. Signing off.